How are you doing tonight? Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I see we have Charlotte, North Carolina in the building. I see we have Nashville in the building. I see my Dallas people are in the building. Where are you tuning in from, Fox? Let us know. If you have not been a part of our virtual cruise, this is your first time joining Kirby Fox on live. My name is Christina Howell. I am the founder and creative director for Kirby Fox. Kirby Fox is a luxury lifestyle brand. Confidence and live life unapologetically. This is our Thinness Does Not Equal Beauty podcast. And this podcast was created to give us an outlet to have discussions about things that important to us as plus size consumers, as plus size women. And so we started this last week with the Fat and Flirty dating while plus size. And that conversation was so good that we didn't even get too deep into what we wanted to talk about because there's so many different facets to the subject dating while plus size. So we're back today for part 2. So we have Simone Mariposa, who's back with us. We also have our new male BFF, Hayes, who has joined us. So I'm super excited to get this going. I see we have some more people who have just joined us. We got Virginia in the building. We got Baltimore. I am so excited that y'all decided to join us for this podcast. So I have one request. Do me a favor. You see the share button on your screens. Go ahead and share this live. Share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter, share it on Instagram in your stories. This is our girl time. This is our time to chat and really get to some issues that we want to talk about, not what mainstream media has been forcing us to talk about, but this is our time to just really hang out. And if you're like me, I've been looking for an outlet to have some fun, to have some girl time, to actually talk about dating. Because quarantine has had me thinking, maybe I'm ready to start dating again. Do I want an online date? How do I want to do that? And then as I started to think about dating, I remembered why I don't date anymore. And that's what brought up the conversation of dating while plus size. So I think we are ready to get started. If you see me look over, that's because I have my Facebook Fox Society with me. I have my YouTube Fox Society with me. So I'm trying to make sure that we're all connected because everybody doesn't have Facebook and everybody don't like YouTube. So we wanted to make it super fun and super easy for you to join the conversation tonight. So let's go ahead and bring in our guests. We have, again, Simone Mariposa as well as Hayes, who are joining us tonight for the conversation. This is going to be really good. If you missed part 1, when you're done with this, you're going to want to go back and watch it. We will have one more guest joining us today, but we'll go ahead and keep that a surprise. Hey, y'all. How y'all doing?
What's going on?
Simone. Okay, I'm going to let them do, if you weren't here last week, I'm going to let them do their introductions again. So we'll go ahead and start with Hayes. Hayes, introduce us to who is Hayes.
I am a podcaster, photographer, a wannabe videographer, just a general all-around connoisseur of everything creative. And yeah, that's me. I'm owner of The Breaks Media, host of the Awakened Soul podcast, Love, Lust, and Badass Soul, The Breaks Radio, and The Film Frequency.
Okay. So it looks like we had Simone froze. Simone had to leave, but she's coming back. We also have Raven, Miss Ravy _baby on Instagram has joined us today. So this is gonna be good. Simone, can you introduce the people to who is Simone Mariposa?
Hello, my name is Simone Mariposa. I am a plus size influencer. I am a fashionista. I'm a motivational speaker, inspirer. I'm passionate about teaching women of all shapes and sizes to love their bodies through any and every condition. And it's really important for me to be that representation for women who have felt voiceless.
That's awesome. That's super dope. I think that's where we are in alignment. Like, I'm really big on empowering women to reclaim their confidence and step outside of the norms as beauty and fashion is concerned and just live within what is comfortable and confident for them. Hey, we have Raven. How are you? I know you just got some water, so we're gonna give you a break. But we want you to introduce us to who is Ravy Baby.
I also cannot tell if it's like a delay. So can you guys see me? Can you hear me? Like, is it
Yeah, we can see you and hear you.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, yeah, great. Thanks for having me. So my name is Ravy Baby. I am a plus size influencer. And I mean, yeah, I think all around, just an all around amazing personality. Yeah, in the plus size influencing world, you know, I don't consider myself a model, but I definitely am very much entrepreneur. For I guess more of like the lane that I like to claim. You know, I have multiple businesses, you know, my online store is like my big thing. So influencer / entrepreneur for sure.
Okay, so I think we all have that title of entrepreneur here, and definitely making sure that we create our own lane and leave our mark on the world. I think that's super dope. Raven is joining us. She was not with us last week for part one.
Yes.
Last week was super dope. I think I'm still digesting some of the things that we talked about, and we posted a clip today on the part about discernment. I think that's what everybody was talking about after the conversation, because it is something so simple that we all know. Like we should be in any situation, we should have discernment. But it's like, you know what? Dang, now that I think about it, do I really actually sit back and watch people's actions and not what they tell us, but watch how they move? Do their actions align with their words? You know, just something as simple as that can stop us from walking into these illusions that we have created in our dating life. So I think we're going to kind of go. I'll start with Hayes and say, if you can recap some of the things that you recall from last week and kind of give us those who maybe didn't join us last week a kind of a recap on what we talked about from what you remember.
Yeah, definitely. The discernment piece was definitely the one that stuck, and overall, being able to take a look at people's actions rather than what they just say. But on top of that as well, like being confident in who you are, being confident in your body, because I think that it's important to display that confidence, and that confidence is going to get you through, and also keep you from putting up with crap you just honestly shouldn't be putting up with. So that's definitely some of the stuff that stuck with me from last week.
Agreed. Simone, what's your recap from last week?
I just remember us talking about, you know, preferences and fetishes, and similar to what Hayes was saying, making sure to be mindful of who you are allowing to give, or you're allowing to accept your energy, or who you're giving your energy to, just because some people might not be, you know, dating you or talking to you for the right reasons, and you have to be mindful and know your worth and be able to let people know that they're not worth it.
Agreed. I agree. I think for me, it was the biggest part of making sure we ask questions. You know, not being afraid to ask what it is that you truly want to know, because time is something we can't get back. So I don't want to waste time continuing to go to dinner or text or have phone conversations knowing that we're not on the same page. So I think we even asked this question in our stories, like, what's a question that you like? What's one or two questions that you want to know on the first date or in the first conversation? Because we talked about that last week, like making sure we ask questions. So I'll start with Raven. You're just joining the group chat, so I'm gonna start with you. What is one or two questions that you feel like you want to know within the first like conversation or first date?
Is it picking up something, or is that just me? Like, do you guys hear that?
It's like a whoosh, like a wind sound almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be a fan or something. Like, it sounds almost like water.
Not mine.
Like gotten louder.
Okay, yeah, I know. Okay. I don't think it's my fan.
I don't know. I turned mine off.
My fan's off, so it can't be mine.
Yeah, I was like, I turned mine off.
Okay.
But we'll drown it out with the conversation.
All right. So the question, what was the question? Sorry.
1 to 2 questions that you feel like you have to ask within like the first interaction or the first conversation or the first date.
So I think I probably asked this question like as soon as maybe numbers are exchanged. So not necessarily before we even get to like, this is before you even get to the date. Like, I feel like it's very important to like clear any air of what that person is actually seeking. And I know that seems like, okay, yeah, that's a very broad question. And most of the time, like, we do ask that, but like a lot of the time we don't. And a lot of the time, like, we don't ask that because we're kind of scared to ask that because you don't want to come off too forward right away. Like, oh, if I ask this person like what it is that they're looking for, it might kind of scare them away. But like, maybe that's what you need to do is scare them away. Like, maybe that, you know, like maybe they need to feel that right away. So there's no like later on, you know, whatever. So I like to get that out like in the beginning. And then that kind of lets me figure out if I want to move forward or if I want to be like, oh, okay, like, you know, maybe this person is just somebody to like be a friend with. So if you ask, if I go into something and I ask the man, you know, like, what, you know, like, what are you looking for? Like, what is your current, like, kind of expectations with dating, or, you know, like, what's your standpoint? Like, with that, they'll typically be honest off break and be like, I ain't looking for nothing serious. We all get that. We all get the, I'm not looking for nothing serious. I'm just chilling right now. And when you kind of start getting like answers like that, as women, it'll put us on like the, what does that even mean? Like, what does just chilling mean? You know? So that allows a conversation for you to kind of dig deeper. And some women are cool with that. Some women also just want to chill, you know? So if that's what you're looking for, if that's what you want, then great. You guys kind of already established that before a date has even happened. Because you're not going on a date and then be like, oh, I'm really, really feeling this person. And you didn't ask that question. And now your feelings are kind of going to get a little hurt because he might not be on what you're on. So I like to get that out the way immediately. And, you know, sometimes I even ask that in person before the numbers even exchanged. Like, before you get my number, what is it that you want for me? Like, so sometimes you just got to ask. Sometimes you just, hey, listen, ladies, we got to be more forward and we have to be more aggressive at what it is that we want. Because like you said, time is of the essence and I'm not 21 anymore. Okay. I'm not a young chicken. I'm getting old.
At all. I agree. I think it's a girl on Facebook. He said we're running away at that question. So I think some guys do run away when they're like, oh no, she's too serious. She gonna be stuck up. But I'm okay with you thinking I'm too serious. I'm too stuck up because my time is money. And if I'm going to give it to you, like, hey, I need to make sure I'm not wasting money. So I form of currency. So I can't just be willy-nilly with it or anything like that. So I'm with you. I'm definitely asking that question. But I think the first question that I ask in every situation is, are you single? And then I follow it up, is anyone think they're in a relationship with you?
Yep. that was gonna be my second question.
I gotta ask.
For the two questions, but the thing is, what I feel about that question is, it's really unfortunate and sad that we even have to ask that, but we do have to ask that question. And we have to ask that question because, again, if you don't find out these things beforehand and in enough time ahead of time, then now you're digging yourself into a situation with a guy who is probably either like a serial dater or he has a woman in his life who he still has some type of contact with or connection or line of with. Even though he may be out dating other people, he still may have that one woman who is something to him, you know what I mean? And as a single woman, you would want to kind of know that, because again, that puts you in a position to be able to be like, okay, this is how I handle the situation with this particular man. So I definitely think that's a question we have to ask as well.
And you have to ask it both ways, because they'll be like, well, you never asked me, you know, did she think she was in a relationship with me? No, let's get it all on the table. Are you married? Is anyone married to you? You know, like,
it's so sad that we have to do that, though. It's so sad we have to do that and ask it that way, because again, I feel like and this, I can't speak from a man's point of view, so maybe we'll allow
that's
men
how
to
we
speak, but
have our
I
new
can't
male
speak from
BFFs here.
I can't speak from a man's point of view, but I feel like, again, as a man and being older and being whatever, like, I shouldn't have to ask, are you married? Is there a married? Are you married? Is somebody married to you? Like, if you're talking to me, then I should just be able to safely assume that you're single, because one, I should safely assume that you're being committed into a relationship and not even worrying about who I am or my existence if you were married. But because we don't live in that time, we have to ask the in-depth questions and really get the answers.
And then
So I don't know. It's real sad.
on top of that, I feel like um, a lot of men are really semantical in that they'll take certain things from a question and answer those specific things. Like there's this meme that said like your boyfriend will go have Chick-fil-A with his ex-girlfriend and he'll come back at you like, so you mad because I went out to eat some chicken? It's like, hello, no, like they'll like find different things to like call out when really you have to be very specific. And I think maybe that might be somebody just trying to play somebody, but it's important to be specific about what it is that you're asking and what it is that you're also seeking to. I think it's important to do that. And then also, I wanted to add one question that I do ask is what made you want to talk to me? Just because you never know the reason, and I think it's really important to like figure that out off top, because like I'll do that because I mostly do online dating. Unfortunately, people don't hit on me like that in LA, but
girl, that's just LA.
No, it's LA and it sucks, and I hate it here.
That's just LA.
Yeah, it's so annoying. But it depends on the reason. The reason is what I think helps to propel the situation, or it helps me decide whether I want to end the conversation. So a dude will be like, because
I have to ask Simone, like, what answers are you actually like looking for when you ask that question? And the reason why I'll say this, it's very interesting that you say that you ask that, because when women come to me about dating advice all the time, that's like the first thing I tell them not to ask.
Really?
Like, I always say, like, don't ask a man why he's interested in you. Like, don't ask a man why he's showing interest in you, because it's like he's interested in you for a reason. You know what I mean? And whatever that reason may be might not necessarily be something that is of significance. So that's why I find it like, I really want to know, when you say you ask that question, what answers are triggers for you into like, okay, this is a green light, or like, no, this is like a red light, I don't really like it.
I think specifically,
before you answer, Simone, let me see, because I'm with you, Raven, and I think I would really like to get a male perspective on the question before we go into the answers. Hayes, have you been asked that question, or do you feel like it's a trigger question? Because I look at it like a trigger question. Like, I'm trying now, it's becoming an interrogation instead of a conversation trying to get common interest. I feel like that question kind of shifts it a little bit into an interrogation.
I don't think that it necessarily switches it into the interrogation. It all depends on how it comes up. I think sometimes, in what we get caught up in like asking questions, is that we ask a series of questions one after another without really making it a conversation and actually exchanging, and you responding to what I actually said. It's kind of like you just go on to the next question. That's what makes it feel like an interrogation, at least in my opinion. But that question in of itself shouldn't be, because I feel like you should be able to tell that person why they caught your interest, even if it's something as simple as, look, I saw you smiling from across the room and I had to come and talk to you. That's a respectful answer. Like, I think if they can't answer that question with something simple like that, then it's definitely a red flag.
Okay, I can see that. So, okay, let's move to the answers. I don't know. I may have to add this question to my little list. So, what kind of answers, like, do you feel like, Simone, are respectable answers, and you like, okay, let me continue the conversation, or okay, I'm hanging up and you blocked?
Oh,
did we lose sound for Simone?
Yeah, I think so.
Simone, I think your volume is out.
You know what? I'm gonna put that out there. We need free internet. The entire world needs free internet right now. Like, because internet does not want to be good to us.
I know.
Nobody's internet is working.
Oh, can you hear
Okay,
me
I can
now?
hear Simone now.
Yeah.
I can hear
Okay,
you now.
we can hear you.
Lord have mercy. Okay. So for me, it could be anything as simple as like I found you attractive, or kind of like what Hay said, I saw you across the room, I find you, intriguing. Something simple as that.
Okay.
And the reason why it's so important is because I've asked that question to men before, and it has been, "Oh, I love me a big girl," or "I've never had a big girl before." You know what I'm saying? So it becomes
Yeah.
that answer. So I'd rather seek that out off top and not waste my time conversing with you when eventually it's going to come out. And like you said, time is money, and now you're wasting my money, and I'm irritated.
Right.
So I'd rather have that cleared away off top.
I can definitely see that. And that goes back to what we were saying last week about, not being afraid to ask questions, one, in general, but really getting an understanding of what it is. Are you genuinely interested in me, or is this a fetish for you?
Right.
What are your true intentions? And so I agree. I think I'm gonna add this to my list, of things, like, because it is something we all want to know, but it's just, do I feel comfortable asking on the first date, in the first conversation? Because I'm gonna be honest, I feel like playing dating is like playing the game. You have to see at what level you're gonna use what tools. Are you pulling out the big guns? Are you using a little pistol? What are you doing to get past this level? So that's why I don't like dating, because it is a game to me, and I feel like you have to be strategic with it instead of genuine.
Yeah, and also it's important, like, it's not what you say, it's how you say everything. You can ask the toughest question, the thing that's most thought provoking, the thing that might be triggering or whatever to some people, but the way you ask it is going to, bring a way different outcome. Like because I'm like, hey, so what made you interested in me? That is different than, so why you want me? Why are you here? You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's about like what the intention behind your words. If you're genuinely curious, it's gonna come out that way. But if you're really like, why does this dude want me? Then it's like, that's how he's gonna receive it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's it. Like, the tone is everything. That's why I'm not big on texting when I'm getting to know people. I'd rather have a conversation, even if there's like a maybe a misunderstanding or something. Like, don't email me, don't text me. Let's jump on the phone and let's really figure out, because I don't want to make up a tone in my head about what you're saying. Let me hear your tone. What are you really saying to me? So I think tone is very important, especially when you're getting to know somebody.
Right.
So I have a question. I'm gonna start with Hayes. What does dating mean to you? What does that look like? From your perspective.
I mean, it can mean a lot of different things, because what are we talking about? Are we talking about exclusively dating? Are we talking about just spending time with one another? It can mean a lot of different things. It just, I think ultimately, if we're just looking at just the scope of dating, it means spending and putting time into someone is a form of dating.
Yeah, that's why I asked, because I think people mix up being in a relationship with dating. Dating is, to
Absolutely.
me, is genuinely getting to know somebody with the intention of either moving towards a relationship, moving towards a friendship. We're figuring out where it is you want to take that relationship with that person. But that's actually going out. That's, having dinner, that's going to the movies, that's going bowling, that's going to the park, sitting on the phone at night, asking how your day was, getting on FaceTime. Like, that's what dating looks like to me. But I'm gonna switch it over to Simone. What do you consider dating?
To me, dating, I think, is putting in an effort to spend quality time with the person. I think it's as simple as that. Like, even when we talk about dating, we talk about like friend dates, right? Like, you spend that time with that person that you care about. You spend that quality time so that you get to know, you spend that, or you kind of bond in a way, or you figure out if this is important enough for you to continue to pursue. I also think it includes like going out of your comfort zone sometimes, or like doing an activity together too. Because I feel like you can get to know someone really well when they're, doing an activity. When you guys are doing an activity together.
sitting at home watching Netflix. No, that's not it.
Right. No, I think that is so silly because there are dudes who really will be mad if you're like, I don't want to go over your home. And they're like, well,
Yeah.
I thought she was different. I'm like, I guess I am in that I don't want to put myself in danger at 9:00 at night. I'm so sorry. Like, what is so weird?
That is. So I think we have a question here. What is the difference? I'll start with Raven. What is the difference to you between dating and being in a relationship? Like dating or exclusive dating? I'll say it like that.
Okay. I was like, well, shit, one, you got a boyfriend, and the other one, you don't.
Yeah. We'll say dating or exclusive dating.
It's like, shit, one I'm single and one I'm not.
Right.
I think dating is what most of us actually do, and that's are dating multiple people, and you're kind of figuring it's like you're choosing. It's like cake testing for a wedding. You're just like figuring out which one you like a little bit better than the other. It's which one has the better connection. Who you're kind of vibing with more. But dating is just that. Like it's you're dating. Like you're not exclusive with one person. It's not just whatever. It's if Antoine calls you up on Monday and wants to go to lunch, and then Jamie calls you up on Friday and wants to go to brunch. Like you're going on dates. You know what I mean? Like you're doing your thing. You're dating. Exclusive dating is just, I think, when you pick your right cake and the cake that you like the most, and there's that genuine interest between both parties, and then you guys have that conversation of like, okay, so this is how we feel about one another. What are we taking to the next steps? And I think a lot of the time, though, a lot of people kind of skip the exclusive dating part and then maybe just jump straight from dating. You find one that you like, and then now you're in a relationship with that person. And then now you have a relationship plus exclusive dating all wrapped into one ball. Then you're still figuring out this person who you now call your boyfriend. You may not know a lot about them yet, but somehow, some way, you guys are already like the title. I think the title thing is what kind of confuses people, when it should be kind of a genuine flow from maybe serial dating to exclusive dating to relationship with that person who you may have established that exclusive dating with. But whatever works for whoever, whatever works. Like exclusive dating for me, though, would just be like you've narrowed your dating options down to one person, and you kind of both agreed on, okay, we're gonna take this and explore a little deeper. So all my time and my energy is now going to you, and I'm not entertaining anybody else necessarily.
Agreed. It looks like Facebook is totally in agreement with you. They are saying, I agree completely agree. Like we're right there with you. I think that's where sometimes we put ourselves in situations to be hurt because, like you said, we skip over some of those steps. We go on a couple good dates and we like, okay, I'm ready to cook him dinner. I'm ready to, make sure he got an extra key to my apartment. Like we're just ready to go all in. And I think if we really take that time to get to know people and what they like I said last week, watch how they lead. Watch how that guy leads his own life to see if you were to get in a situation, like how is he going to lead the situation for you? I think that's really important is understanding that there are stages to dating, and dating is just like you said, I may be going out with Jim today. I may be going out with Chris tomorrow. Like it's dating. I think more women have to understand it's okay to date multiple people at the same time. Now, keyword, it's okay to date multiple people at the same time. I'm not telling you to sleep with all of them. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do, but that's not dating.
And that's the thing. And if you are choosing to do that, then that's your prerogative in your business.
Right.
What you're doing, and that's okay. Like, like if you are sleeping with, yeah, if you're sleeping with multiple people, that's fine. Because in my head, I feel like that means that you know in yourself that you might not be ready for an exclusive
Relationship.
dating
Yeah.
relationship and an
Mhm.
exclusive type of relationship. You are out here living your best life. You doing, you know what I mean? Like you doing you. And if I'm okay with men and women who have established that about themselves and who are being
Right.
truthful about themselves. If a man comes to me and he's like, "Look, I like you, I'm dating you, but I'm also, sleeping with Brittany and Shaniqua," then I can only take what he's telling me and take that for what it's worth. You know what I mean? Like I can't put a stop on that. That's not my boyfriend, that's not my man. I can either be like, okay, I understand that I'm just gonna play a part, or I can be like, you know what, that's not really for me, but thank you for telling me, and then just go on about your business.
Right. So I think for me, one of the biggest things is setting expectations up front. I think we talked about that last week as well. So for me, it's setting the expectation is just because we're dating does not mean that I want to sleep with you. I'm dating you to see if I want to get that far in this relationship.
Right.
Dating and sex are not the same thing. You can have sex with people that you never went on dates with. Like you can have hookups and all that, and you could never date that person. But they are two separate things. And I think we have to be okay with understanding that I can go on a date with you and not have to feel like I have to have sex with you. Like I think I saw or had a conversation with someone not too long ago about if a guy takes you to like a $3,000 date, he knows he's gonna have certain expectations. Well, that's not. I don't have to live up to your expectations. Like my standards are my standards. Like
Right.
that's just you wanted to take me on a really nice date. That does not say that I have to sleep with you.
That's like being
But
flown out. Okay, you could be flown out, and
yes,
that doesn't
just
mean
because
you're
you
gonna
feel
get.
ready
That
for
doesn't
it,
mean
don't
you.
mean I have to sleep with you.
If you're
That
gonna
doesn't
get
mean you're
flown
gonna
out
get
though, would
married.
you really want to get flown out by somebody that you're not gonna sleep with though? You know what I'm saying? Like, if, like I don't want to. I'm not gonna spend time in a separate place with someone who I wouldn't sleep with or at least get some type of intimate with because I'm gonna be just ready to go. I could be at home right now. You know what I'm saying?
I
So you
can't
don't
say
want to
that I
take
have. I
her
can't
date?
say that I haven't. I
Like
Yeah.
can't.
I
I
would
can't.
look forward to the adventure. Like
I
oh
can't. Yeah.
he's that.
I can't.
You
I
know,
can't say that I
like
haven't, Simone. So
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe me. Maybe I haven't had enough experience. But honestly, if you're
shit.
trying to fly me
Shit
out to
happens.
Miami, if you're trying to fly me out to Miami, I'm like into you enough. I'm gonna fly to Miami, and it's gonna happen. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
I
just
don't
my
think
point of view.
yeah, that's what you want, but I don't think that should be a requirement. Like, oh, if I
Yeah,
go, that means I know I got to sleep with him, or
Right.
no, like
of course,
I'm gonna
of
sleep
course.
with you because I want to, not because I feel like I owe you something. And I think
Yeah,
that's all I want to clear up is that just because somebody does something for you, you do not owe them anything. Like your body is your body. Like you don't have to give that to somebody just because they decided they wanted to spend money doing something to show you that they're interested, because if they're truly interested they were going to do it anyway.
So Hayes, I have a question. If you fly a woman out, are you expecting sex?
I'm not expecting necessarily, but best believe if I already knew it was gonna happen. But I, I also
I'm
want, I also want to,
saying.
I also want to just piggyback on something, and this is just a point that I like to make. Like, you had mentioned before how like if you sleeping with multiple people, that's your right, and it is, especially if you're in the dating stage. But something that I just want to make sure I point out is I need people, and I'm going to do men and women on this one. Stop carrying your feelings and your vaginas and your dicks. Like I can't stress that enough. Is that people, if you're not mentally prepared to sleep with multiple people and you know that you can't help but to form emotional attachments through sex, then you don't need to be sleeping with multiple people, because then you're setting yourself up emotionally for something that you're not prepared to deal with, really. And I think so often people will put themselves in that situation of messing with multiple people because they think, oh well, I'm doing me, I'm doing XYZ, and then the whole time you're taking pieces of you emotionally that you know you're not either not getting back and that you're not equipped to deal with. And so that's something that I wanted to point out as well. It's very like, do it if you can do it, but you also have to admit and be honest with yourself on if you're not someone who can sleep with multiple people and date multiple people, and that's fine if you can't. Like, I don't want people to feel like they have to do certain things to in that dating stage. Like, you stop carrying your feelings in your vagina and just date or do whatever comes natural and that's you're comfortable with and that you can emotionally deal with. So I just wanted to make that point.
That's a
I'm
really
an
good point. I'm
emotional
glad you
ass
took us
cancer,
to
so
that.
I know I can't.
Yeah, I know I can't either.
I'm
And I
emotional
think,
ass cancer, so I know I can't, and I don't, because I know I'm crazy.
yeah,
Yes,
like
you
I
can.
believe in the soul tie of having, that sex brings. And like I said, my time is money, and I don't want to waste anything on somebody I know that I'm not trying to build with. I'm not trying to grow with. Like you said, I'm not a spring chicken. I'm only getting older. So I don't want to continue to give a part of me to people that I'm not trying to carry with me. So I think, like you said, being able to know that about yourself and having those hard conversations with yourself about what have you been doing wrong in dating. What have you been continuing to do that is not bringing you the results that you're looking for. But I'm going to take a small break and go to Facebook real quick because Facebook wants us to get into how fine Simone is right now. Like they said, the
Yes.
skin is glowing,
Wow.
the melanin is popping. And so they just want us to acknowledge that Simone is glowing and she's fine.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Thank y'all so much. That means everything. Thank you.
Yeah,
Wow.
so let me
My
go back
heart
to
is
some of these comments on Facebook. So Ebony Hill said they get sex and dating mixed up, then blame it on people. No, you just want to bust it open when you're not ready to settle down. That's a word. Listen, but it's okay if you notice that's your ministry at that point. Then hey, bust it open, sis. But know what that comes with. There's consequences to all of our actions. Yes, them soul ties is too real. That's why I don't do it. I feel you. I'm right there with you. I cannot sleep with multiple people. Okay, I think we caught up on Facebook. So I'm gonna throw it to you guys because I know Raven, you did some questions in your story today. I'm gonna go back to some questions we did in our story today. You posted a question for your audience in your stories. What questions did you get?
So the question that I posted just kind of like what are like the noticeable differences of dating like plus size, like dating plus size and dating. And a lot of the responses back were pretty much like the standard ones that that we get is that men are intimidated by plus size women or bigger women, that men are scared to approach us, um, scared to approach us in person, and or we're considered the last resort. Like plus size women, it's just kind of like, oh, you ever notice that one guy who we all know was like a player, or kind of ran through everybody and anybody, and then he might end up with like a thicker girl, and it's just kind of like, where did she come from? And everybody's just kind of like, oh, she must be like a last resort type thing.
Right.
I got a very interesting one in regards to how white and Latina plus size women are put at a higher kind of standard and pedestal than Black plus size women, which is something that I think we kind of tiptoe around in like the plus size community, because especially online with the plus size community online and like with influencers, we kind of all are right next to each other. So I think a lot of things like a lot of conversations, a lot of people kind of tiptoe around and don't want to talk about. But I thought that was a very interesting response as well, because it is something that's true. And I mean, it's something that's very like noticeable. And I think we deal with that as the Black community at any size. First off, we deal with other race of women kind of getting a little more attention or, being put at higher pedestals and standards than we are, but it definitely is kind of probably noticeable within other race women when it comes to plus size women, because plus size, you hear things like, oh, like fat Black bitch, or like, it's one thing, why can't I just be a fat bitch? But when it's like a fat Black bitch, it's just like certain it's you know what I mean? it's
Just
always
leave out
certain
the
things.
holiday.
It's always certain things that are said, that could be like very like whatever. Fat Black women are always referred to as precious. Like what like it there are certain things that always kind of dial back to us being fat and Black, whereas to fat white women don't have that, or fat Latina women don't have that, and Latin women are referred to as curvy rather than necessarily fat, because
Yes.
curvy fits the Latino culture. It all comes, and it's like, oh, you hear a black dude could be with a fat Spanish woman, and he may not even look at her like that, but a Black woman may be the exact same size, and it's like, oh, y'all aren't the same. Like, so I thought that was very interesting of a response to get. And, but everything else pretty much seemed like pretty standard of conversations that we always talk about. And a lot of it just kind of boils down to intimidation, or necessarily we're the last resort. We're at the bottom of the totem pole. It is what it is. And yeah, the responses were pretty good though.
So I think my hand is kind of being forced here. I don't think I ever was going to bring this up, but in preparing for the first episode, this definitely was a table discussion for us, because I'm of the darker tone for my team. So I feel like my dating experience will never be the same as a lighter skinned fat woman, because even at the root of it, her experience is always going to be a little bit easier than mine, because she's closer to that fair white Latino shade. So it's almost a little bit acceptable, even when you look at as a fashion brand, and putting out images and stuff. You don't see the darker skinned plus size models for mainstream brands. They only go for the lighter skinned plus size models. Even if they do get a visibly plus size model, they still go for the lighter skin tones. And so for me, I feel like that's even a thing that I don't think we talk about enough, is the fact that as a darker skinned fat woman, it is almost like we're the last resort. Like, oh, I just couldn't find nothing else to do with my time, so I'm going to see what this be like with her. And then if it comes down to it, then it's just like, I won't do it at all. But I did want to ask Simone if you felt that way too.
I saw a question. I don't consider myself Afro Latina, but I am surrounded by Latino culture a lot. I have a lot of respect and love for it, especially with me like knowing Spanish and like understanding the dynamics of it. So I 100% agree with what you're saying, Raven. I do think white and Latinx fat women are prioritized. And I notice this, and I say this all the time. Almost every plus size white influencer has a Black partner, and it's so clear, and it frustrates me sometimes, because on the contrary, a lot of Black plus size influencers have white partners. So it's like, what exactly is like, what's the underlying tone of this?
Something is in the water and it's getting mixed up, and we don't know.
Girl,
we don't know. It's like the pots. It's very interesting that you said that, because yes, that is 100%. That is 100% true. Very.
It is. It's so weird. And then also, within like fat phobia or being marginalized, there's like, you add like different layers of marginalization to you. Like, okay, we're already Black, and we're Black and fat. We're Black, fat, we're women. And then you have like a dark skinned Black fat woman. So like there's so many layers of being marginalized and being oppressed, that unfortunately we are on the bottom of the totem pole. So we don't necessarily get recognized. A lot of plus size models, a lot of the girls are lighter skinned, white, culturally ambiguous, And I understand the idea of cultural ambiguity. Like the message behind it is like, doesn't matter what you look like or who you are, you're beautiful. But to me, that erases an entire demographic that has such a negative connotation. Like every like fat Black actor you see, and even if it's just a spot on a show, they're usually like, girl, now you listen now. And I'm like, I don't talk like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Anybody who look like me, most people who in my life who look like me don't talk like that. So it's like there's this specific idea of who we are, and a lot of times people expect that when they talk to when they talk to them. Like if I go out, people think if they can hit me up like, "Hey, what's up, big mama? Can I get a hug?" No, you cannot get a damn hug. Get out my face. Like, what do you mean? I'm not your grandma, bro. I'm here shaking ass like your homeboy. So like, it's just frustrating.
It's only funny because it's so true. Like we all can honestly relate to it, and it's so sad. It's so sad. But that is, I had a conversation I think about 2 weeks ago where I said that. I was just like, it's one thing, and I have to, and me being an influencer, I know of things that I need to be aware of and things that are going on around me. So I can't be blind or stupid to like what's going on. But I know for a fact that plus size girl who is darker, who is darker than I am, won't necessarily maybe get as much shine or as much or whatever. And those are things that I have to speak on all the time about, is because we're not we're not going to separate ourselves. You know what I mean? Like at the end, like everybody else in the world already separates us, and it's already enough issues that we have to deal with. So anytime like those things are like apparent and like recognizable, like those are the things that you have to like speak on. And it's just like, I don't take for granted, or I don't take for anything that if I'm like a lighter complexion than somebody standing next to me. No, like at the end of the day, we both fat, we both black, we both women, and we both is going through, the same type of struggles. And like Simone said, it's when we are put and we are not given a big enough platform to show the many different sides and the many different personalities of us, they box us in to this one little thing, and we get this one look, and we get this one personality trait, and we get that, and that's it. And we have to do more of trying to break that mold and trying to show that, okay, like, no, this is not, first of all, we're not going for it. That's not what we're standing for. And we need more people. I feel like I'm trying to out talk that noise, and it's like, and we need more people to and we need more women to like continue to support each other and like kind of stand by and have these conversations. So going back to how you said, like, for a fact you and your colleague don't necessarily go through the same situations because of those are conversations that need to be had. So like I feel like you have to be able to like speak more on it and talk more about it. That's just my little rant on support and just sticking together for real. And unless somebody's about to drop 150 pounds, we all look the same.
Okay. I agree. I think it is important to mention, and although I want to be clear, when I ask Hayes questions, I'm not asking him to speak for all men. I'm asking his opinion for his life, whether he's single, married, whatever his business is. I'm just asking because I think a lot of us, we don't have the advantage of having like that male we can go to and be like, look, this is what I was going through with this dude. What do you think he really trying to say? So that's why I said in the beginning, like, he's our new male, like, homeboy that we can go to, like, hey, I've been thinking this and I really want to know what's your thoughts. So I think somebody was asking me, like, are you married? Look, I'm not trying to get in this man's business, y'all. We just wanted to ask some questions and get a message.
All up in this man's business. Y'all are so funny.
So I guess, your personal
opinion, a good question. I might have missed it last week, but was there conversations on, I mean, not like getting in your business, Hayes, but are you attracted to plus size women, or like,
absolutely.
I might have missed that last week. So so being attracted to plus size women, and I'm sorry, I'm just like, I do wanting to know these answers from men.
No, being and I need somebody to call us on time, but I'm good to keep going. Facebook, y'all good to keep going? Or y'all gonna drop?
It's already out of time.
No, we almost at an hour, but I'm good to keep talking. So, Simone, Hayes, Raven, y'all good?
I'm straight.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Yeah, so I'm ready. Like, I think we can keep talking.
Do it.
Cause I feel like that's we keep getting like we get right into something and it's like, dang, the time is up, you know. So I'm good to keep going. Like, let me ask one more thing. Y'all do us a favor. Go ahead and share the Facebook Live, share the YouTube Live. Go ahead and make sure y'all do that. We're gonna keep the conversation going. So, Raven, back to you. What you were about to say, because you asked Hayes, is he interested in
So
plus size men?
so he did say he was
Okay.
attracted to plus size women. So being a man attracted to plus size women, like, do you feel that other men might look at you a certain way, or have they ever like said slight comments to you, or is this something that you're like boisterous about, of like an attraction that you may have? Like, just being like put in that position, because I feel like these are a lot of questions that I personally get from those who follow me, is that a lot of the women who follow me feel that like men just are not attracted to them. So I feel like I do a lot of explaining, like, men are attracted to you. Like, it's just, you just have to, like, you just got to dig through those who are. So like, if, yes, that's question number one. And then I have a follow-up question.
I think, yeah, I'm 100% comfortable in me and any decision I make. I don't hide anything, and that's just always been me. I've always been someone who, regardless of like the public opinion, I do me. And I think that it's important to realize too is that a lot of times when men are afraid to admit they're attracted to plus size women, it has nothing to do with the woman. It's more to do with them. So like a lot of women will take that into offense with them, and it's almost 99% of the time nothing to do with you. It's with that man and what he's going through mentally and emotionally, and not being willing to admit what he's attracted to. But I've never had that issue. Never had that issue.
That's good. That's good. So as a man, coming from a man's point of view, what advice would you give to other plus size women to kind of get out of their own head in regards to like dating?
I think.
Because in actuality, a lot of the men who approach plus size women are non plus size men.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
and
before I answer, can I roll it back to like last week? We did talk about the tweet that I saw about someone saying that there's not this thing as like plus dating while plus size. That they could have any man that they want. And I think it was being clear that yes, we can have any man that we want. But to say that there's not a such thing as dating while plus size and there being stigmas around that, is not fair, because everybody has a preference,
Mhm.
and I think even with some of the images that we put out, we put out images that don't necessarily look like a plus size woman with a plus size man. Some of us like them tall, dark, and skinny, or tall, white, and skinny, or whatever the case may be. But we all have our preferences. And so, okay, I'm gonna just recapping from last week, and then throwing it back to your question, Raven.
So that was what and so it's funny, somebody else wrote me when I posted my question today, and they were just like, what do you mean dating while plus size? Like, dating is just dating. And it's like, sometimes some people are just kind of like so like wrapped up in like their own world that they really don't understand. That's just like saying like there's no such thing as like black marriage versus white marriage. It's not just marriage. That's two separate marriages right there. Okay. So yes,
Yeah.
it is a thing. And the reason why we have to break it up like that and say like plus size dating and non plus size dating is because it is different things that come with being a plus size person, whether you be a man who's big and tall, and whether you be I think someone just sent me that, whether you be a woman who, is plus size. Like, we go through different things, and we go through different things because 9 times out of 10, the person who's approaching us is not something that they're used to. So it's a learning curve for them too, because how many times have we been told you're the first plus size girl I've talked to, or I'm not normally attracted to plus size women, but I really like you and your vibe. And so sometimes we're put in positions where we're already starting off dating differently because that's just what it is, and that's just how it's coming to us, and that's just how it's being like presented. So it is a huge difference. I'm not really for sure like why that tweet would have made sense, but whatever. But yeah, so I think my question back to you, Hayes, was just on like what advice or what would you tell to like a woman who is plus size, who's struggling like dating, and she's feeling like it's never gonna happen for her, like this is the end of all end. Or sometimes too, I get a lot of responses where women will be like, oh, I need to lose weight in order to have a dating life.
Yeah.
You have to do what you do for you. The time that you spend, it needs to be to build yourself up to whatever you need to do, whether that's mentally, whether that's physically, whether that's whatever, and stop getting so hung up on it's never going to happen for you, because it is going to happen. It's just going to happen in its time. And I think so often we feel like we should be in a certain place at a certain time in our lives or whatever, or based off the people around us. And I would just say, take time out to get to build your confidence in you and what you have going on, and then you won't worry about all that, and then you'll be even stronger for when somebody does come around.
Agreed. Like what Simone said, we are full package. There's no settling over here. So, you just know if you come to this table, you got to bring something to it. You can't come half stepping. It is what it is. I think Facebook, they said the same thing. The only thing you need is confidence and to just own it. Just be confident,
Yeah, and
and
sorry, I'm so sorry.
no, you're good.
On top of that, I feel like, especially with plus size women, a lot of us feel like we have to prove that we have someone or prove that we're desirable. Like there's always this, like a lot of times women will ask me like, I'm the last one of my friends who's dated and I don't know what I'm going to do. How can I do this? And I'm like, truth be told, the more you put energy into something that you want, honestly, the more you're chasing it away. You have to learn how to take your time and get to know yourself first. Because and on top of that, a lot of them look for relationships to soothe those insecurities. And when you're in a relationship solely to soothe insecurities, you end up not having a proper relationship. Honestly, it's not enough give and take. It's mostly you just wanting to take someone's energy to help solve your problems. So I always encourage women not to focus on that so much. Like, of course, of course you want someone to love you and you want to be able to give love to someone. But I feel like if you have to do it for the right reasons. And like Kay said, it has to be in its own time. You can't continue try to push it to happen, because desperation doesn't look cute on anyone, regardless of what you look like.
That is where it is super, super hard to give advice to other women, no matter the size, because that's what it comes down to. A lot of women come off very desperate. It's like you're yearning for this affection and this need of being wanted by somebody so much that it's like, you don't care who it comes from. You just want it that bad. So it could come from any and anywhere, and you're going to take it. And that makes you come off as desperate. And when you come off as desperate, men pick up on that. And men, and depending on what type of man it is, he's either going to take advantage of the fact that you're that desperate, or he's going to be turned off by the fact that you're that desperate. So we just have to do like we got to do better about that. And it does. And I agree, like I 100% agree with everything that all of you have said. Like, confidence needs to be there. The understanding of self needs to be there. The being able to just be alone. Like, I feel like I can sense when a lot of people cannot be alone and don't know how to be alone. So they are just like, I need this person. I need somebody to love me. Like, I want a relationship. I want to be with somebody. I want to, and it's just like, I don't think you got what it takes to actually be in a relationship, because you don't got what it takes to be by yourself. And that's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people. So that's basically the advice that I feel like I give out and that I want to continue. But me asking these questions is because I know a lot of us, we get these DMs, we get these messages, and it's just like, we want to make sure that we're giving people the right advice. But we also, we also want to make sure that like they also understand that like my advice may work for me, but not necessarily work for you.
Agreed. So I want to take a step back and go back to something you said, because I think this goes back to what we talked about last week about the shooting your shot, right? So y'all don't judge me because this is a safe zone, right? So I feel like the reason why shooting my shot is like so hard for me is because I feel like that does make me look like I'm desperate. Like, because to me, like I said last week, I feel like men at their core are hunters. So if we're friends and we follow each other, or we're Facebook friends, or we follow each other on social media, you see my post just like I see your post. So for me to shoot my shot feels like I'm coming off desperate. And like I couldn't wait for him to make the first move. And so, and I'm saying this somebody who has shot their shot a couple times, and I'm like, dang, I really don't think that was worth it. You know, I definitely don't want to do this again. But I do. I feel like as a woman shooting your shot at a man, I feel like that's almost like women proposing to men. You know, like I don't know. Throws my anxiety through the roof.
Far from it. And this is coming from somebody who is a shot. Okay, 3 pointers every time. All right, I'm shooting half court every single time. Let me tell you, it is a huge difference from kind of showing that you're interested and just being like straight up desperate. And the actions and the things that you say and how you say things and how you come off will definitely differentiate between the two. And I feel like any man with common sense will know that she's either desperate or no, like she's just genuinely interested. And the reason why I am always pro advocate for women shooting their shot is because I have seen what it has done for some. God, I have seen what you've done for others. and I too would like. So I have a really good friend of mine, and she shot her shot at her current husband. Like, seen him at a party, asked somebody who he was, found his Instagram page, and DM'd him, type shooter shot. And they got married 2 years ago. Wow. Went through the whole dating process and married. And the thing is he always says it wasn't that he would have never been interested in her. It was just that everybody was out, you're in an environment, you may not necessarily be like zoned in on that one particular person at that moment. But when he opened up his DM and it was her, he was like, oh, like I saw her, she was there, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like let's do it. Like now. And then from there on, he took the lead. So it wasn't like she carried that position of like, this is me doing everything throughout a whole relationship. But it definitely got to where it's at. And the reason is, and I'll say this, the reason why I think you should definitely be more open to doing it is because a lot of men are just weirdly shy. Like a lot of men are just awkwardly shy. And you have to think about it. There are the ones who are overly aggressive, who were going to be like, what's up, baby? Like, let me get at you. Like, da-da. And then what happens when they're like that? We're immediately turned off, right? Because it's just like, like if you're that forward with me, then I know you're that forward with everybody else, right? And so then we're turned off. So it's just kind of like, say something to one, and then if he shows a little interest, you'll know. Like you'll be able to fill out the situation. But let me tell y'all, I've shot my shot a couple times, and it's worked out. It's worked out. Okay, it's worked out.
So, Hayes, I know we talked about this last week. So, for those who were not tuned in last week, give us your perspective on women shooting their shot, because I think that was good too. Like, and I have thought about it. I'm not gonna tell y'all no story, but all I've done is thought. That's it. Like,
can I say though, for me, like I see the power in shooting your shot, but for me, I had a literal like traumatic experience. It was in high school, mind you. I mean, it was pretty messed up. So I went to this hood function with my friends. You know what I'm saying? I always like when I was younger, I would always like determine my success or my fun at a party by which guy, like how many guys wanted to dance with me. Because my friends would just be dancing all damn night, and I would probably have like one person. I'd be like, damn, nobody danced with me tonight, or only one person. All my friends are like sweating. They sweat like watermarks into their jeans. You know what I'm saying? So I always like felt bad about that. And so I was at this like hood function, and like a song everybody liked came on, and my friends all just found a guy and started dancing on him. And so I was like, okay, maybe I could do that too. I was always like kind of weird about it. But I was like, fuck it, everybody's dancing. I want to dance too. So I started dancing on this guy, and he literally pushed me off of him, like full, like 2-hand push. And I was like, damn, okay, well, shit, I'm never talking to anyone ever again in my life. Yeah. That's exactly what it went for me. I was like, I'm not shooting my shot. I'm not dancing with nobody. I'm going to be, like, if you want to dance with me, you can pull me from the side. But for me, I was like, that, like, and I know it is so minute, like, looking at it now, it's such a very isolated experience. But because of that, like, the level of, like, pure like disgust that he pushed me off with, to me, like represented so much. And I was like, all men are gonna be like this, and if they're not, they're gonna come to me, you know.
True. So for me, mine was a little more recent. Like, I did shoot my shot one time on Instagram, right? This guy, like, we had been following each other for years. And, like, you know how you like somebody picture or whatever? And so I finally was like, whatever. I think me and y'all hear me talk about, if you tune into Curry Fox stuff all the time, you hear me talk about Ashley all the time. She's one of our amazing people on the Curry Fox team. But me and Ashley were talking, and she was making a joke about you just need to shoot your shot. It's whatever year it was. I think it was like 2016, 2017 or whatever. And she was like, you just need to shoot your shot. So I go on his DMs, I shoot my shot, and it's just no good. Like, it was, like, I was so embarrassed. It was just no good. Like, he was not.
No good? Okay, like he just opened it and left it on red.
You know how, like, they softly decline you, like, not to hurt your feelings, you know? But, like, it was like a girl, you know better. Like, you know. Like,
you know better.
Yeah, like that, you know
is that how you took it, or is that actually what was said?
Exactly.
Yeah, good question. That's a good question.
Okay, but look, tell us exactly what you said and tell us exactly what his response was. And the reason why I need the exact is because we as women can read something and it will literally look like a foreign language to us, and that is not what was meant or said at all.
Like,
right. So I would have to go back and research what was said. But here's the traumatizing part, though. I ended up moving like 2 months later, and he became my neighbor. And it was so awkward. Like, to see him every day, knowing that I shot my shot, and he was like, get that out of here. Like, you know, like.
I really want to know. Hey, can you repeat the question, though?
Because I know his question is from a man's perspective, that men can say something and then we as women perceive it a completely different way, and that's not what they meant. And I feel like, I don't know. We need the specifics on what exactly was said, so we can be like,
and I feel like you took it away, and I'm not saying, like, that's why I did ask the question on, like, what was exactly said, because a lot of times we in general as humans have a problem of taking something away, and then we act as if that's what was actually said. So, like, you saying it was basically like, you know better. It's like, was he crazy enough to say that, or what was actually said? 'Cause I just
he was not crazy. He was actually super dope about it. Like, he was nice, but like ladies, come on, you know, a dude done hit on you, and you like, you know you couldn't handle a woman like me. Like, you give them that, like, now come on now. It was kind of like one of those. I'm gonna look, if we do a part 3,
you have to come back and we need the details.
Yeah,
and we do a part 3 because
you're
talking about that was from 2016, and I bet you if you went back and looked at that message in 2020, you might be like, maybe it wasn't that bad.
He probably said something like, I'm not looking. Like, he could have said, honestly, something as simple as, like, I've always thought you were attracted to, but I don't want to damage our friendship type shit. But you were like, no. He said, fuck off.
And he said, get that shit out of here.
Right, get that.
Yeah, if he sees this live, I'm gonna crack up. He's gonna definitely DM me and be like, for real. But like, we still follow each other, and we actually had a few conversations like when we like lived in the same place. But it was, for me, it was awkward. I was just like,
You in your
That
head.
would have been
Yeah,
your husband.
I think you're definitely in
exactly.
your head about it, because I'll say this. I've had all my shot shooting has not went well, but not, the ones that didn't go well didn't come back on some like, girl, boo, like, girl, get the hell out of here. Like, it really came back on like, you know, some like, oh, I feel the same way. However, like, I'm kind of serious with somebody, or, you know, oh, I feel, you know, I'm, you know, like, we're on the same page, but kind of is not like a really good time for me right now. Like, you know, let's start off slow, you know, slow. And yes, as women, you could read that and just be like, oh, damn, so I'm not bad enough for you, or, oh, damn, you don't want to fuck with a real one. Like, you know, we could take that one way, but for
you could have been on your second baby by now. Shit.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
He could have got
a lot of the time, men are sparing our feelings. They really are. Whether we choose to believe it or not, a lot of the time men are really sparing our feelings. And we don't like to give them that much credit that they actually care that much. But I feel like sometimes when they say certain things, it may come off very strongly. But then when you stop and think about it, it's like, I appreciate him for turning me down, because 4 years later and he's on his 5th kid and I had no idea that he was, you know what I mean? Like, some things kind of work out on their own for real. So he could have been going through psychotic episodes and was trying to save your life.
Probably. I never had no dude be like H no or nothing like that. Like I said, I think I've done it like 3 times, but each time it was like, you know, like a cool, like a no, but it was still like a dang. Like, I really took this shot and it was a no, you know? But
think about the amount of men who shoot their shot at you, who you've been like, boy, bye.
Oh, it's plenty.
There's no, like, honestly, no risk, no reward. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, you have to be willing to you have to be willing to fail. And that goes with anything in life. You know, like, for example, you knew that, like, starting your business, there was a chance that it could have failed, right?
Yeah.
But you still went with it anyway because you cared about it enough. Not saying that you don't care about it, do it enough like that, but also, like, you never know who you meet. So the worst they can say is no, and then you can be like, well, he wasn't for me, you know? And I'm also saying this to myself because, like I said, I don't shoot my shot at all. But it's important.
Oh, I shoot my shot. My recent shot, y'all, was at a celebrity.
A celebrity? Oh, you got big kahunas.
Right, a celebrity.
Y'all, I did it in person. It was at a basketball player.
Whoa, come through.
Now, if y'all really want to talk about some girl bye.
Can we get some details, please?
Yes, that's the level of confidence I'm trying to live my life on. So walk up to a celebrity and be like, boy, you know you can get with this, you know?
It was in, I think, about October at an event in LA. This was at an event in LA, and I actually have slid in this particular player's DMs before with no response.
The long game.
Just no response. Just like, whatever. I don't even care. I'm gonna do it anyway. And granted, at the time, he was kind of, I guess, publicly involved with somebody, and so it was just kind of like, okay, like, you're not gonna get a response. Which I was just like, okay, cool. Fast forward, when I saw this person in October in person, I was just like, oh my God, it's them. And I was like, oh man, like, this is a sign. Like, Jesus is talking to me. And I was looking good this night. It was like a night event. So I was dressed up to the T, hair done, makeup was mom. And I was just like, I'm going to just go talk to him. Like, I'm going to just talk to him. He was there, no security guard, just by himself, whatever. So I was just like, I'm going to go shoot my shot. I'm going to go, you know, do it. And so it took a lot of drinks in me first to go do it. Like, it took somebody said A-lister or C-lister. It's an NBA player. a very well-known NBA player.
Oh my
And I
God.
was just like, oh, and I'm just like, oh, I'm just gonna go. And so after these couple of drinks, he was doing like little walkthroughs through the event, and I was just like, okay. So he did like one walkthrough, and he was right here, and I was like, oh, it's now or never. It's now or never. So I was just like, hey, so I saw that you're recently single.
Wow.
He was like, huh? I was like, yeah. So according to and I couldn't. So at that point, I was already in, and I was stuttering. It was just a mess. I was like, so yeah. According to the blogs, you don't have so are you single? And he was like, yeah. And I was just like, oh, okay, cool. And he was like, cool. And I was just like, did you get one of these drinks yet? Mind you, it was open bar. And he was like, yeah. And he was like, yeah. And I was just like, oh, okay, cool. I was like, yeah, so I've actually like slid in your DMs a couple times. And he was just like, cool. Mind you, did ask my name, didn't give a fuck who I was. I could have been like,
you don't care. You don't care at all.
There was no interest there. It was just, and I felt myself just getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And I was just like, oh, this was a bad idea. I should not have done that. But you know what? When he walked away, so he kind of stood there for a second and kind of like, just like whatever. And then he was like, all right, well, you have a good night. And I was like, you too? And when he walked away, I'll tell you this. I still felt very confident in myself because I was just like, not every bitch would have did what I just did. And that made me feel that made me feel a little bit good, but it did not go nowhere.
According to the blogs, that's where I would have he would have been lost for me. Yeah, according to the blogs,
You brought up like his whole like celebrity life. I think that's kind of awkward. Like, like celebrities, the last thing they want is for someone to be like, "You're a celebrity. I read about you."
Like,
It just came. It literally was just like word vomit, and like I said, it could have been the drinks. It was open bar. It was free drinks. It could have been that, and it just came out like really, really bad. But in my head, I was like, I could have also been sober and probably not even have mentioned anything about a fucking blog. And this situation probably would have went still the same exact way, just because there's just obviously no interest there. You know what I mean? Like how we said, like both sides got to be equally as interested. Like there's probably just no interest there. But I'll tell you this. He opened up my DMs, didn't respond, but opened them up.
He was searching for them at least.
I think so. Yeah. He probably was just like, let me go just take a look. And then found it and was just like, okay.
Tika on Facebook said rejection builds character. You know what, Tika? I'm okay with not building that type of character. Like I really am. That's just I'm okay to live without.
It's definitely I'm also like don't want to say that I'm just out there just hollering at everything that walks by, but on the ones that I've deemed necessary, I've did what I had to do.
Yeah.
But for me, when it comes to shooting my shot, the thing that scares me the most is like knowing if they're into fat girls. Like going back to the plus size dating thing, like you really never know. Like I want to be as bold to be like, yeah, I can get any dude I want. But my thing is like, I might want the person, but does he want me? So it's hard to be able to establish that interest. Like, I don't know, there are some women who will literally talk to somebody who hasn't even looked at them in the entire night and they catch their eyes. But, like, I don't know. I'm just more so, the thing that worries me the most is, like, I'm not sure if this guy's into big girls or if he's in front of his homies, he might feel like, oh, I'm not about to talk to this big girl in front of them, blah, blah, blah. But, which is pretty much like I do. But still, like, it's just something to think about.
So I think I want to throw that one to Hayes because I think a lot of us, we have that as like something that holds us back. Like, but I agree with what Raven says. Like, you can't think about it, but it is a thing. Like, that's kind of bracing yourself for what am I going to be coming up against? Like, Do I even want to take my chance shooting my shot if he's not even into fat girls or dark skinned girls or whatever the case may be? So from a man's perspective, like when it comes to shooting your shot or having a woman shoot their shot, should we be concerned with their preference or should we just go for it?
Yeah.
I mean, you'll be wondering all day about what the preference is. I feel like this. It's not going to kill you. What do you have to lose? At the end of the day, like if it's not for you, then
Right.
you've just eliminated something that's not worth your time. So it's not going to kill you. Like I think often like we build up so many questions in our head. It's just like with like starting like I think it was Raven who said like you started your business. Like black people will not start a business because of the potential of it failing and never get it started. It's the same thing. Like the potential of failure does scare us, but at the same time, it's like, all right, if it does fail, is it going to kill you? We're more resilient than we give ourselves credit for. So it's not that big. I mean, what's the worst that can happen?
Also,
So
how?
can you give me some examples of how a woman has shot their shot at you and you felt like, okay, cool, I'm going in?
Oh, no. I so
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
I will not tell you.
Absolutely not.
I don't. Do I want to say this? Okay, so I have relationships and sex podcast, which I talked about. I've talked about my foot fetish a few times, and so I get like numerous feet in my DMs all the time. Like no hi, no good morning.
Wow.
It's boom. There it is.
Just
So, yeah.
so we gotta learn out what his fetish is and shoot our shot that way. Okay, cool. No taking.
So,
Got it. You know?
So feet pics is what does it.
Okay, so ladies, y'all already heard if you're trying to get with Hayes, you know, you gotta
No,
have
that's not. No, that's no.
Hayes likes feet pics. Okay,
He
we're
likes
good.
feet pics.
Yes, I got the mental note already down. Like
White toes or no white toes?
What color toes? White toes. Okay, white.
Nah, that's basic.
Oh shit!
That's too
Wow,
basic.
you said
No, mint,
don't
red.
with them white toes, ladies.
Why do men love red toes?
I don't know
Well,
what
red's
the
my
deal
favorite color. If you can't tell, like red is like everything to me. So
That's like a
yeah,
thing
I'm
though.
big.
Men always are like, oh, red. And I'm just like, I feel like they don't think like no other color just pops in their head. They're just like red. I'm like, what?
that's
Oh
true.
no,
right.
I'm
And
the,
then
I'm
there's
the
so
red bearded
no
assassin. It's part of my
grand,
brand.
Grand apple on my toes.
someone said on Facebook and
That's real funny. But I definitely agree like with like Hayes' response in regards to, you know, I mean, women, if ladies, if you shoot your shot, you shoot your shot. Just know like it's either a yes or it's a no. There's just like anything in life. It's either yes or no. And the yeses may surprise you just because again, like I said, that some men may not just necessarily have it in them to be that forward. And that's not necessarily saying that they're timid or that they're scared or that, oh, I don't want my homeboys to see me holler at a fat girl. Like it might just be because shit, whether you is fat, small, or in between, he might just not know how to or go about it or, you know, whatever. And again, like I said, some men are overly aggressive and will just come right up to you and just be like, oh, so what's good? Like, you know, I think we got to take in consideration that all men are actually different and they're not that actual hunting spirit that we may think that they have.
It's important to point out too that like it's an icebreaker, right? So that doesn't mean that they're not a hunter. Doesn't mean that they're still not going to pursue you. Doesn't mean any of that. Like sometimes it's just an icebreaker. And I think also like the stigma around DMs. How many people now are like people post DMs all the time, and it doesn't even be like somebody off the wall. Like it's just an honest thing, and they're like, oh, look at this clown. So like there is a thing where it's like it's not always easy, or somebody or a man won't automatically think like, well, let me just go slide in her DMs because it's like, all right, I know she's probably already gotten like 15 DMs or XYZ. Like it's just an icebreaker. And also shooting your shot doesn't always have to be the DM. It could be commenting on a picture like, oh, that tie looks really nice on you. Just try to start a conversation. I think we overthink it too much sometimes. So
Ooh, say that.
That's what I should have said to the NBA player.
guide us a little bit more on like what that looks like as far as like an icebreaker, because some of us may be a little bit direct than more direct than others, and we just dive in head first, like you find what's the so
That's
that may
me.
It's that
Like
kamikaze. Every
it's
kamikaze don't work for
the
everyone.
kamikaze you just have to literally go through. See, that's me. Like if
so
I
what
ever have been interested in someone in person, I'm very
uh-huh
like, yeah, it's actually very corny. Sometimes I'll be the type, I'll just get like really aggressive out of nowhere. I'll be like, so why you have
yeah
that on? Why do you have that shirt on? And he's like, because I like it. And really in my back of my mind, I'm like, I think he's cute. Relax, relax. It's so weird.
yeah
I just have an adverse reaction to when I'm interested in somebody. My first thing to do is to be like, stop being interested in that person.
yeah
Um, they're probably not into you, but that's just me and my own like overthinking or like self doubt coming in. When simply it is like, what do you have to lose? This person's like, nah, I'm not interested. And then at the end of the day, okay, they're not interested. That has nothing to do with you, you know?
so I agree. I think for me, because I've been, as far as like business is concerned, like I've been like so tunnel focused like most of my 20s that I just became aggressive about everything. And so my homeboy tells me all the time, like, yeah, you probably could have dialed it back a little bit on that one, or, like I probably wouldn't have said that. So that's why I think like it's important to kind of give examples on like what's a subtle way to shoot your shot, like because some of us may not be thinking like we're just so used to just saying what we need and what we're trying to do that we don't think, oh, maybe I need to soften it up a little bit, or they don't know how to soften it up a little bit.
See, in the,
Yo,
for me,
bruh, what you trying to
oh,
do? Just say that.
No, we're not doing that one.
I
Don't
feel
do
like
that one.
like the DMs for me are so much simpler. I can shoot my shot in a DM. I couldn't care. Like for me, I think maybe because like I have more time to think and formulate responses. But in the moment, I'm like, okay, how do I do this? How do I do this? Like, and that's when I start overthinking. I've shot plenty of shots. In that case, sure, I have shot my shot before. But for me, it's that interpersonal thing, especially because like I know how like not intense, but I just have a big energy, so to speak. So you just never
Yeah,
know how somebody's going to be able to respond to that. It kind of goes into like intimidation, you know,
yeah,
uh, because especially being in a bigger body too, like people really be thinking like, okay, if a fat girl hits on them, it's like, oh, she want to devour me, or she want to just, you know what I'm saying? And it's really like, I'm just trying to have a freaking conversation, bro. Like we're two people. I found you cute, found you intriguing. Let's talk, you know. So I'm just mindful of that, and I think at least for me, what I'm learning through this conversation is like, take that risk. You feel me? Like if you fail, oh well.
see, I feel like I don't get that far because I'm like you, Simone. Most of my interactions have been online. So I feel like before I even get to the point of like trying to say, oh, we're both interested, like they almost do like a resume check and they say, oh, she has this, she has this, she has this. Then they're like, you know what, you're a little intimidating. Like, dang, I didn't even have a chance to have a conversation or anything.
Mm.
They're like, you know what, you got a lot going on. It's a little bit too intimidating. Like,
Then I'm like, I guess
I'm
you
a
can't handle it. Bye.
and that's
I
how I feel
get
about
I
you,
get called
what that's
intimidating
Raven
all the
said.
time.
Mm-hmm.
All
Yeah.
the time. I'm always called intimidating. I'm always called intimidating. Men always, that's the first thing that most men always say. Like, oh, you're so
Mm-hmm.
intimidating. I'm like, am I?
Am
I was like,
I?
I'm not.
Right.
Right.
I'm
Am
not.
I?
I'm really not. You're just psyching your own self out, which, weed out the ones who can't do it. That's fine. That's okay.
Facts.
But I think
Definitely.
it's important to like haze. I guess like going back to what you were saying earlier of knowing like where we are and things like that. Like, are there triggers or something that like words that come off intimidating? Like maybe someone doesn't know that what they're saying is truly and like can come off intimidating. It could be
Good question.
tone. It can be like you were saying, Simone. Like maybe it was just a little too aggressive. Like what does that look like as a woman being intimidating? If you were, and I'm not saying you find women intimidating, but if that was you in that situation.
You probably don't.
I've never used that phrase that a woman's intimidating. I don't get that. I like, and I don't even say that to sound cocky. Like the way that I always explain it, because women ask me this all the time. Like, what do I do when people? I feel like men say that women are intimidating when women carry themselves in a way that lets you know they're not finna deal with your bullshit, and people won't say that, so they say that they're intimidating. Like I just don't get that. I've never said that. So
Yeah, I agree. I think sometimes it's a cop out, like to
Mhm.
not
yeah,
not hurt your well, I ain't gonna say not hurt your feelings because to some people it probably is like because if you hear it all the time, you do start to wonder like, dang, what's wrong with me? But like for me, it doesn't make me think of that because I do know I come with a lot. Like my table is set. Like I have, fine china and everything is laid out nice. So what's your table look like when you come over here? Cause this is what this table looks like.
let me
So
ask.
it may
So
be
if you feel that way, why can't you shoot your shot?
Right. That's a good.
because
Okay.
I don't.
Like I'm just wondering because if you're like if your table's set, you got the fine china, you got the meal, you know how to cook, you can throw down, ain't no holes in your game. At the end of the day, it's like it. So what? Why are you afraid to invite somebody over to eat?
Come
Ooh,
on, Beyonce. Come on. He's saying if you
woo.
Beyonce, where's the Beyonce esque
Right.
the
The
shit.
the
The
Look,
shit.
where's the Salt Bay? You know what? That's a good question, and I think I'm gonna have to bring that back to part three because that's a loaded answer. That's a loaded answer. So I think we've been on what an hour and 40 now. So I'm gonna try to get us wrapped up. So I think we might as well just make this a series. I think we would just because I don't feel like we can really, get through half of this in an hour. So I'm gonna ask Facebook and YouTube if y'all want this to be a series. Go ahead and drop a comment, and let us know because we're asking Hey, Simone and Raven, to take out time of their days and we want to know: Are y'all gonna tune in? Are y'all gonna
right.
tune in and bring
Right.
questions and be engaged? Facebook has been on it tonight. Like, what is it? Tylen said, "What if you get caught intimidated by just your looks?" Yeah, I think we definitely have
And
talked about that one too.
I'm sorry, real quick. I think that has a lot to do with men trying to make you as approachable in their minds. You know what I'm saying? Like it's always like you look intimidating, just like if you're walking down the street and the guy's like you look mean or smile a little bit. It's like, is it
Yeah,
because you want to be able to approach? Like it's really because you know that how I look now maybe wouldn't be approachable enough for you, or you feel like it poses some type of threat. So you want to look like you want that woman to look as I don't know, as conversational as possible. It's just weird. It's a weird dynamic. I've noticed that. I'm like, I don't want to smile. I
yeah.
say that all the time. I'm like, I don't want to
Around all
smile.
day. I love me a mean woman, so that ain't nothing.
Uh,
Codes and
Period.
attitude. That's gonna be
Woo!
the name of your new podcast.
Pose and attitude. I'm with it. Trademark it. Trademark it. Go
Right.
ahead and
I'm not.
look.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so let's see. Facebook says, Carlencia says, Siri, us up, please. Ebony said, I'm tuning in every time. Rosella
Yeah.
said, yes. Uh, Dominique said, I enjoyed this a lot and need a series. Looks like Facebook is telling us we need to come back. YouTube is saying yes. We have I'm about to exit, but this is a great combo. I'll catch up later. Okay, look, I think we are good to come back for a part three next week. And you know what, Hayes? One, can I just say I did not appreciate you throwing me under the bus like that. But
Oh
I'm gonna
no,
come back
you
prepared next
start
week.
you
I,
starting
what
off.
do we say?
We starting off next week with your response because I'm
Right.
waiting. You got a whole
What we
week
say
to get your
last week?
thoughts together.
We
Listen,
talked about men holding men accountable. I'm BFF now, right? So I got to hold you accountable too.
Okay, come
y'all
on
really
now,
gonna let him
codes and
do me like this?
attitude.
Yes.
Y'all gonna let him? Wow. Okay.
Yes,
Well, you know,
because
I'm gonna
because
do my.
because he ain't wrong. He ain't wrong. He ain't wrong.
He
Us
ain't
when we
wrong. He
when
ain't
we
wrong,
talk
but
about
BFF, you could have texted me. You didn't have to put me on First Street. You could have texted me and said, "Look, I'm about to throw you under the bus. Go on and put your helmet on." You know, something.
Because because that everything, how we lead and how we perceive ourselves when we say stuff like, I'm a boss, I got this, I bring this to the table, I am the table, what you gonna do, da 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 da, that can kind of lead back to, okay, so we are probably intentionally and purposely intimidating men, because what we want them to know is, I ain't no sucker ass, you ain't gonna play me, because this is what I got and this is what I'm doing. And so what you got and what you doing. And so it's a fair question to ask. Well, if you got all that, then.
So here's my short answer. Because I have all of that, I expect that my future partner will have that too. And because he's a boss, he leads every single day in every situation. So he's going to take the lead in his dating life, just like he takes the lead in the boardroom, just like he takes the lead in his friendships and things. Short answer.
We talked about this last week. We talked about this last week. Hold on, because I love you, but we got to break this down. We are not going to leave on that. So, like you saying all that is a complete and utter smokescreen, because that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. You can still be led and still speak up and shoot your goddamn shot. So we ain't even finna like leave on that. Not finna do it. Not finna do it. Not finna do. So this is what we're gonna do. We gonna break it down for the art of the DM for my friend, and we gonna get you right next week. We're gonna get you all the way together before we leave next week. We gonna get you together. You
gonna start with that next week.
Yeah.
Oh, and then we're gonna leave off with, you have to shoot your shot in somebody's DMs before we're done.
Ooh.
No, we ain't gonna do that one.
We're gonna be in class, and then at the end there's a test after class.
Can the test be like in 2 weeks? I need 2 weeks to study. You always get time to study.
We gonna be back outside in 2 weeks.
Right. I'm asking for, at least let me get back to Atlanta. Like, let me get back to Atlanta. So that way I can actually do something. If he do like be like, okay, cool, I'm actually in the same city at the time and we can go ahead and go out. So I'll do that. Give me 2 weeks to get back to Atlanta.
I'm finna shoot one for you. We finna. Don't worry about it. We'll see. Don't even worry about it.
Sweetheart. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it, sweetheart.
I ain't even gonna hold you.
Everybody, we have Simone Mariposa, we have Raven, we have Hayes. Y'all tell them where they can find y'all on social media, and I will start with Hayes.
You can follow me at CEO Hayes, that's CEOHAIZE, or you can follow me at The King Hayes. You can also follow my podcast, The Awaken Soul Pod, or Awaken Soul Pod, just depending on where you're looking for us at.
And Raven?
You can find me on all social medias at Ravey, RAVEY_baby, BABY.
Okay. I don't know if the sound cut out for everybody, so I'm going to repeat that. On all social media, she is at Ravey, RAVEY_BABY, and Simone Mariposa.
You can find me on social media, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Simone Mariposa. You can also go to my website, SimoneMariposa.com, and that's all I have. Yeah. I thought I had to do.
Well, I am so grateful to y'all for joining us for part 2. And it looks like Facebook and YouTube just done made y'all just regulars on the Thinness Does Not Equal Beauty podcast. So we will be back next Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for part 3. And first of all, let me just tell y'all what Facebook said. She said, hell no, pop quiz that ass.
Yeah.
They are throwing me under the bus too. So I guess we just gonna have to do this next week. I'm gonna go ahead and prepare my heart and mind for rejection. I'm gonna be praying over rejection for the next week.
That's negative.
No, I have to prepare myself. It's not being negative. It's just making sure that I'm mentally prepared for whatever is to come. Did we lose audio? Hey, y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Sorry about that. It looks like we may have lost a few people, but y'all come back next Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be live on Facebook and YouTube. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure y'all share this video. See y'all next week. Bye.